Now, I'm sure most of you have seen that latest presentation at the Mexican Congress, where they were showing the two supposed alien corpses. I don't want to show the video because I know several people that happen to get pulled off YouTube and it just happened to be when they were showing the video, but there's still some people that showed it and they weren't. I'm not going to take the risk. I'll just show you guys the pictures. I'm sure you guys have seen this before. Ay caramba, that is some bad Hollywood makeup if I've ever seen it before. But yeah, this was the latest thing. It was breaking news when it was released. I don't know how anybody can fall for this, but people do. It's just the times that we live. But according to what we were being told about these things, these are at least 1,000-year-old alien corpses. And honestly, they're quite the celebrity. In case you guys haven't realized it, these aren't just any aliens. I mean, these aliens, they're celebrities. They are Hollywood actors, if you've ever seen them before. I'm sure you've seen this little guy. He played a very important role in Men in Black. If you guys remember his role as the alien that was found in the tall, slender dude's head in Men in Black. Yeah, I mean, he really had a role. But I think, honestly, his best role by far was that bootleg Mexican version of E.T. I mean, that was fantastic acting on this dude's part. Absolutely fantastic. So, round of applause for him. Definitely stole the show with that. But these supposed E.T. corpses were claimed to be found underground in Peru in 2017. Where this really just kind of falls apart is, of course, the journalist who presented these alien corpses at the Mexican Congress is a guy by the name of Jaime Mausen, something like that. Jaime Mausen, he presented these papier-mâché science fair projects and has already been proven to be a fraud in the past. This was in 2015 when Jaime here reported about a 3-fingered Nazca mummy who was also found apparently in Peru, which was also proven to be nonsense. Now, if you haven't seen this was back in 2015. The same guy who presented those papier-mâché science fair projects, he supposedly found this thing too. If you notice, this was shown on Gaia.com. I plan on talking about Gaia.com in one of these upcoming End Times New Age series because they really promote this stuff heavily. But this was debunked. This was a fraud. And the same guy who tried to fool one back then, he tried to fool one again here at the Mexican Congress. So, aliens have been quite the subject lately of conversation. And if you guys haven't noticed, if you guys have been living under a rock, which I don't really suggest you do that. There's no indoor plumbing, so it's not a very good thing. But there's been a lot of stuff being presented as far as aliens, whether it's these things being in the air, UFO type things, different bodies. There's the thing in, I think it was Vegas. It might have been Vegas, where supposedly the cop's body cam caught the thing fall down into the people's backyard, and they say it was aliens, but they never actually saw the aliens, but they insisted that it was aliens. And it's all these weird situations where everybody seems to be seeing these alien type of things. Now, logically, because I like to look at things from a very simple, logic, common sense type of way. Logically, tell me how it makes sense that roughly 1,000 years ago, these ridiculously technologically advanced alien things, like, these guys, somehow traveled galaxies and light years at crazy speeds and these super technologically advanced things. And I mean, they're able to just go all over the place and everything 1,000 years ago. And they just somehow happen to run out of gas when they get to Earth and just decide to die here. It just doesn't make sense. I mean, just look at it in a very logical way. It doesn't make sense that would happen. So I'm not buying that. But again, we've got the push of aliens and UFOs, and we got things, of course, like Project Bluebeam. We've talked about that in the past. There's other projects out there that I just can't remember off the top of my head, but they have to do with holograms, UFO stuff, and alien stuff, and all that stuff. But we have a strong hunch that this is going to be used in some type of angle for some type of purpose coming up in the future. Otherwise, they would not be pushing this angle like they are, specifically from the elite side. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I know what angle is going to be used on this. I know the favorite thing is they're going to use aliens as a way to explain the rapture. Very well could be. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. There's different things that they could use it for. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know what they're going to use it for. But because of the projects that they're doing and the way that things are being presented, there's going to be some type of angle with alien stuff that's going to be used for this purpose. There's just no such thing as aliens. We live in the end times, these last days. Again, we know that they're going to use it at some type of angle. Now, when you're talking about these UFOs and stuff like that, a lot of the things that you're seeing could be a part of Project Bluebeam, could be, and my idea, and it's just my idea, is it has something to do with the military, their own stuff. But when you see these space objects that are going, 5,000 miles an hour, and they managed to make a 90-degree turn on the dot. You guys got to remember, and I'm sure most of you do, but for some that don't, this is going to be a time of increase in demon walking around, doing what they're doing. There's going to be an increase in demonic presence that's going on. That was the word I was looking for, presence. Lord brought me a present and gave me the word presence. Anyways, but there's going to be a lot of the presence of demons increasing around here. As we know, there's going to be these demon generals that are going to be given their areas around the world, which I think are occurring right now. And of course, the presence of demons is going to be happening. So I think it's a mix, again, of that blue beam stuff with the military stuff, along with demonic and presence. But those questions, as far as what this is going to be used for, can be answered with speculation, but for now, it seems like they are indeed building towards something. But this isn't new by any means, and aliens has been getting pushed by the big evil guys for a while, the elites. So let's go back 8 years. We're going to take a trip 8 years to a video that was put out by UNICEF Chile. Check this out. Yeah. Yes, that was indeed a video put out by the United Nations. It is quite an interesting direction to take when it comes to acceptance. And this isn't new. Again, this is this is from back in 2015 that was put out. Now, if the text at the end roughly translates to: "Don't miss the opportunity to accept someone different. Don't miss the opportunity that life has." That's what the text at the end is. Now, I find it interesting that this was produced by the UNICEF, which is the United Nations Children's Fund. That's what it's called now. Back then it was the United Nations Children's Emergency Fund, but it's the same thing. This is the United Nations that put this out in 2015. So this push of alien stuff isn't anything new. This has been going on for a while. They're trying to program it where the kids would get used to accepting the alien narrative. And as you can see, the alien was even using like psychic abilities and stuff. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. First, it's worth noting, again, this video was published on August 21st, 2015. Also published on August 21st, 2015 was a press release by the UNICEF regarding a partnership between UNICEF and, anybody want to take a guess on who the lucky winner is who partnered with UNICEF? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, Pope Francis. Partnership between UNICEF and Pope Francis, his Scholas Occurrentes program. This was announced the same day that that video was released, which should not surprise us in the least that Pope Francis would be teaming up with the UNICEF regarding aliens and children in schools and all of that jazz. The Pope's Scholas is an adolescent educational organization, and what really binds this all together is if we go back a year to 2014, we find this. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen this before, but in case you guys either don't remember or may have missed it, go back a year, and Pope Francis publicly stated that he would indeed baptize the aliens if they were asked to. Yeah. So, we've got Pope Francis, who's embracing the alien narrative, who apparently believes in aliens, whether he does or not. Maybe this was just a publicity stunt. Who knows? We really don't know. But he publicly stated this in 2014, and then a year later, we've got his partnership with his Scholas educational program and the release of that alien UNICEF video. Guys, there's no such thing as coincidence. I know a lot of people like to say, oh, well, that's just lucky happenstance that just happened. Hey, get out of here. I got beachfront property in Montana for sale if you want to buy that. They're right out back next to my cage of flying pigs. But we're seeing the connection there. We're seeing how this moves into the same thing. And again, this was 8 years ago. We come to where we are now. Apparently they're finding these bodies. We got all these things flying around. We got everybody who seems to be testifying in front of Congress is absolutely lying through their teeth and have been deemed a fraud, because there was the thing that happened in the U.S. Congress as well with this guy who says he found aliens and he's communicated and all these things, when he's also been debunked and never had any classification whatsoever to even see the things that he was talking about. So it's just, again, we can see this move, this directional push towards this narrative. Now, why is that being pushed? We don't know. We can take guesses. There's some really good guesses out there. Again, the most common guess is it's going to be used to explain away the rapture. It very well could, but we don't know. There could be another aspect to this.